Hello and a very warm welcome to our special feature, Amazon Smbhav India, presented by Amazon India in partnership with the Times Network. In the wake of the coronavirus outbreak, technology has been a key enabler towards driving business growth. In fact, we have witnessed digital transformation at a scale and pace that's unprecedented. But how has our MSME sector, widely considered to be the country's economic backbone, fared with respect to the transition to digitized frameworks? Well, we'll offer you a glimpse with a quick video. Have a look.
Over the years, technological advancement has changed the way businesses operate. Expansion, new market reach, and effectiveness has made organizations across sectors more viable. Amidst these digital disruptions, a sector that has always showed its resilience and is truly called the backbone of the Indian economy, that is, the micro, small and medium businesses. Most operating out of traditional setups, MSMEs have always been focused on a certain level of reach and output. The coming of age of e-commerce in India opened a new door towards expansion and advancement. These platforms showed a new way of reach which was efficient and surpassed previously set geographical boundaries. It opened a new form of network which pushed for digitalization and offered vast areas to explore. The present adversity gave an important lesson of working together to explore infinite possibilities. Amazon India has been standing together with these resilient heroes through thick and thin and ensuring that their businesses have the technological support as well as reach to customers across India. Amazon's initiatives and programs gave an additional boost to the entrepreneurial spirit of this sector. Be ready to witness the digital drive with the brand that stands high on values, as Amazon Smbhav India is poised to keep their promise to the nation by bringing in stories of resilience and innovation.
Well, there you have it. And to dive deeper on the subject from a policy perspective, we have with us the Chief Economic Advisor, Government of India, Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramaniam. Dr. Subramaniam, thank you so much for joining us. Sir, to start off with the conversation, I would like to understand from you, how well is India equipped to implement a robust economic revival plan in your views?
I think the economic revival plan is already underway, starting with the Atmanirbhar Bharat announcements and the budget announcement and recent measures, especially the retrospective taxation as well as the telecom reforms. I think India is already implementing a very, very robust economic revival package, and that is being seen in not only the GDP numbers but a lot of the tax revenue numbers and the high frequency indicators. So the revival is clearly on.
Which sectors, Dr. Subramaniam, do you consider to be the most critical ones with respect to the revival of our country's GDP?
I think in the medium to long run, for me, the most important sector is the financial sector, especially banking sector. Now that we've done reforms where we've created the bad bank and thereby taken out the bad assets from the from the existing banks and thereby provided the banks the capacity for them to focus on lending, and the digital infrastructure that has been created, whether it's the account aggregator, the e-rupee, or the Jandhan account itself. This is now time, therefore, for the banks really to utilize these infrastructure, this infrastructure that has been created, and start giving credit and using high quality screening methodologies that use analytics and this data infrastructure. So by far the biggest onus I would put is on the banking sector.
Sir, e-commerce has experienced a significant surge in demand as a result of this pandemic. Do you see our country now gradually transitioning towards becoming a digital economy?
Yes. I would say that this, transformation started with the demonetization. When a lot of digital transactions started picking up. Now there are a lot of very carefully done academic research papers, which are showing that demonetization had a significant impact on the digitization of the economy. I can actually safely say that the acceleration that happened of the digital economy during the COVID era would not have happened but for us actually starting this process, with the demonetization. So I think, the digital economy has really picked up enormous speed during the COVID era, and going forward, therefore, a large, section of our economic activity will be done digitally, which again brings me back to my earlier point. All the more reason why the banking sector can now really use the data that comes from here to really lend judiciously to large sections of the population.
Sir, how do you anticipate Tier 2 and Tier 3 communities will adapt to and adopt the digital transformation, and at what pace?
So, of late in the last several months, I've seen so many examples of MSMEs really adopting, the digital platforms and selling, digitally. So I would say that the MSMEs need to really, those that have not come onto the digital platform really need to have that mindset that they actually can really surmount a lot of the physical boundaries that may restrict them. If you're an MSME that is, let's say, based in Bilaspur in Madhya Pradesh, you can still go and sell anywhere in the country by using the digital platform. So I think it's an enormous opportunity that MSMEs must look at. They must be looking to grow their pie, and I think that is something that the digital economy really provides an opportunity for them to do. So I think they should really look to grab this opportunity that is in front of them.
Dr. Subramaniam, to conclude the conversation, I would like to understand from you, how can MSMEs make the most of the festive season and best enable business to multiply?
I would say that there are a lot of startups now that are actually reaching out to various artisans, various craftsmen. Times like these festive seasons, we end up, giving gifts to each other. There's a, large amount of consumption that happens of of crafts and handicrafts, etc. So a lot of MSMEs actually should look to, ally with startups that, that have the expertise. They can, suggest to the MSMEs what kind of products are likely to sell, so that the MSMEs can craft their products accordingly. And, if you have a better sense of the demand or the nature of that demand, then I think the products can be created in such a way to cater to that demand. So I would say that, the startups, focused on various sectors, which are really disintermediating the, from the demand and the supply from MSMEs. I think MSMEs should really look to sort of leapfrog, their sales by allying with these entities, and that's actually a win-win, I think, for MSMEs, for the startups, and for the economy as well.
Thank you, Dr. Subramaniam, for giving us your valuable time. And for our viewers, it's time for a short break. But next, coming up, we will bring you highlights of our conversation with Manish Tiwari, Vice President, Amazon India, who will shed more light on how Amazon is working hand in hand with countless small and medium-sized enterprises pan-India. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to this special inaugural episode of Amazon Smbhav India, presented by Amazon India in partnership with the Times Network. We are now joined by Manish Tiwari, Vice President, Amazon India, as he shares his perspective on the role Amazon is playing in digitally empowering small businesses. Welcome to the show, Manish, and I would like to start by asking you as my first question, as what are the broad trends we have witnessed in e-commerce adoption rates by both consumer and small and medium-sized businesses since the onset of this pandemic?
Thank you so much for having me and giving me a chance to speak to your viewers. The last 18 odd months have been the most challenging for all of us across the country. During this time, our focus at Amazon was to realign our priorities to support our employees, our customers, our selling partners, and the community at large, while prioritizing our efforts to specially focus and help on small businesses bounce back from the economic disruption. The pandemic has also highlighted the resilience and the optimism of the Indian entrepreneur. As more and more businesses, including your local kirana wala, your local dukan, artisans and weavers, are transforming their businesses, their traditional businesses, into digital ones. And the already digitized ones are thinking more deeply about how they could use technology to scale up. We have seen an increase in businesses coming online to serve their customers. I mean, if you just go back, since January 2020, over 300,000 new sellers have joined Amazon.in. With regards to the adoption of e-commerce amongst consumers, we've seen that over 80 to 85% of our new customers are now coming from non-metros. And they're using Amazon not just for shopping online, but for paying their bills, booking their tickets, reading, and getting entertained. As an industry, the role that e-commerce and Amazon can play in driving positive outcomes for the economy has again been reaffirmed, especially with regards to supporting the small businesses. However, the true potential of e-commerce for India is really beyond the immediate crisis. It can be a strong contributor to the growth story for the country, and this growth will be driven from cities and towns and villages across India.
Mr. Tiwari, e-commerce is still in a very nascent stage in India. Sir, what will it really take to onboard the next 10 or 20 crore customers across the country to embrace digital commerce?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's still at a very nascent stage. So if you look at it, it would barely be 3 to 4% of the total retail consumption in India. Let me refer to a recent NASSCOM study. This study projects that e-commerce will create 12 million new jobs by 2030. Yeah, this sector is already helping SMBs market their products to a wide consumer base. It helps boost tax collection and creates a technology economy to drive exports and fuels consumption. So it is ushering digitization to help all small stores and kirana shops modernize and stay resilient. The study also indicates that the retail market would grow from the current $700 billion and double to close to $1.5 trillion by 2030. And offline plus online, what we commonly refer to as omni-channel, would account for 90% of that addition in the market. So that's the key role e-commerce would play, of doubling the entire retail consumption in India. Yeah? This reflects on what is happening if you look at what's happening on Amazon.in too. We're seeing more and more businesses, whether they are local stores, whether they are artisans, all of them digitizing their business. Since 2020, I just referred to the number, more than 300,000 new sellers have joined. Yeah? And to facilitate this transformation, today, sellers can actually sign on to Amazon.in using 8 languages. So besides Hindi, English, South Indian languages, we also have sellers signing on in Marathi, Gujarati and Bengali. When we launched a program just before the pandemic called Local Shops on Amazon, it was supposed to be a seed program. But the pandemic in some ways is just pushed the digitization forward. And in a matter of 15 odd months, we today have more than 75,000 stores which sell online. I mean, let me give you an example. All India Handicraft, this is a small family-owned stone. It works out of Bareilly, and it's managed by a very awesome entrepreneur called Mr. Amit Bhatia. Yeah, so it's a family business running from Amit's grandfather, started in the 1980s. Now, today, that store has actually come online. Yeah, and they manufacture and sell, cane furniture, cane baskets, and shoe racks. Earlier, they were restricted to the neighboring area in Bareilly. Today, the customer base, after coming online on Amazon.in, has expanded far beyond Bareilly all over the country. In his, I spoke to Mr. Bhatia for some other interaction, and he was sharing the fact that he receives orders and product inquiries from customers across the country. And their monthly orders are growing by about 200%. And of late, they've hired 30 more people to manage this growing demand. So that's how it is transforming businesses. At the same time, we are taking steps for the next 500 million consumers who will come online, yeah, be it in terms of video, voice and regional content. We are also focusing on some new emerging areas which the next 500 million customers would require, like assisted shopping, building more customized experience for our customers. Today, for our customers, Amazon is available in 8 languages. So besides English, Hindi, you could shop in Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, and we recently launched Marathi and Bengali. Yeah, we've also expanded the Speak to Shop feature into Hindi. Earlier, it was only in English. We had launched the experience in English last year, and over the last 1 year, we've seen customers using this feature. I mean, the growth has been close to 100%. Yeah. All these initiatives for sellers, customers and other partners will go a long way in making e-commerce what it should be for the country, and it will help drive the digitization and doubling of the retail consumption in India.
So what kind of investments are you making to aid the digitization of SMBs via the Amazon platform?
I think first let me focus on the investment which is going on getting more customers and sellers, and I spoke about it. 8 years back, e-commerce was largely an urban phenomenon. Yeah, it was focused on the metros and fulfilling their needs. What we did was we focused very heavily on digitizing the small and medium businesses. Yeah, and to do that we leveraged technology. We introduced several programs to make sure the smaller sellers could come on board. For example, we have Amazon Karigar, which helps artisans and weavers sell online. We have Saheli for women entrepreneurs. We have Launchpad, which is a program to get startups and emerging brands online. And of course, we enable all these sellers to actually export their goods. So Amazon Global Selling is a very successful program. Of late, we also launched local shops on Amazon. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to get the larger ecosystem to sell online. Second, like I spoke about, now the sellers and the customers can actually shop and sell in their local languages. Yeah, every language in South India and Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali. While we have been doing all this, we've always also been investing very heavily into infrastructure. Yeah, if you look at it today, as we are during the Diwali sale period, we have close to 60 fulfillment centers across 15 states, and that caters to close to 43 million cubic feet. Yeah, we also have 1,850 last mile delivery stations, both owned by us and by our partners. So the infrastructure along with the Amazon programs actually come together to ensure that more and more people can sell online. Today, if you look at it, we are quite humbled by where we've come in the last 8 years. Most of our customers, like I spoke about, come from smaller towns. Our seller base today exceeds 850,000, with just the last 16 odd months accounting for 300,000 new sellers. And this includes close to 75,000 local stores. So the acceleration both on the seller and the customer side is very evident. It is this conviction and the growth of e-commerce which is why we've actually committed to some very significant programs for the country. The first, to digitize 10 million SMBs by 2025. Second, to facilitate exports worth $10 billion by 2025, and in the process creating 2 million jobs which would be linked to Amazon. Additionally, we have other things in the ecosystem to actually digitize small and medium businesses. So we are very enthused with the progress we have made on some of our key pledges. And what we've done is we've also added a special focus on Northeast, where we believe the benefits of e-commerce would really help that region, and a focus on the small stores, which is the local shops on Amazon program. We've also set up a $250 million Amazon Smbhav venture fund, and this fund would invest in startups that are passionate about using technology to unlock the infinite possibilities in the Indian market.
And in the end, Mr. Tiwari, I would like to take your closing comments. What are Amazon India's key priorities and focus areas during this festive season?
Yeah, the festive season is a very important time of the year for the business and for businesses of all sizes. And it's a time when customers usually shop more, and hence sellers and businesses on the marketplace look forward to this time of the year. At Amazon, our focus is to help sellers accelerate their business growth. And at the same time, we want to help customers find everything they need, from the latest mobile phones to groceries, and get them delivered safely at their homes. We had recently commissioned a study with Nielsen to gauge the expectations of our seller partners this festive season. And the research suggests that 1 in 4 sellers on Amazon expect to double their business growth during the festive season this year. The majority sentiment among all surveyed sellers was that e-commerce will help them reach a wider set of customers this festive season as compared to the previous years. And I'm happy to share that the Great Indian Festival 2021 has got off to a great start, with millions of customers buying from small sellers listed on Amazon.in, including local shops, startups, the weavers and the artisans and SMBs. During Prime Early Access on 2nd October, the number of local shops participating in the event more than doubled compared to last year. We also saw a 60% increase in the seller base who received their highest ever single day sales year on year on Amazon.in. Number of sellers receiving an order from the smaller towns, the tier 2-3, also jumped up by 21%. And the Prime subscription continues to be a customer favorite across India, with 2 out of 3 new Prime subscriptions coming from smaller cities. Early data from day 1 of the sale indicates a strong start across all categories for the month-long festive season. And we are excited by the momentum and the opportunity to serve customers and enable sellers during this festive season.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Tiwari. Well, that brings us to the end of the inaugural episode of Amazon Smbhav India, presented by Amazon India in partnership with the Times Network. Stay tuned as we bring you more from this special series. Thanks for watching.